We're live. We're live. Welcome back to the Blue Room Podcast. I'm Lincoln, and today with me is one of my long time friends, Robyn James. How long have we known each other now?
I was thinking about that last night. I think 15 years.
Easily 15 years, if not a
Yeah.
little bit longer. Just because, like, I met you after I moved to Crossfield,
Mhm.
and you and I have kind of we've talked about it. Maybe not at great length, but like a little bit where it's like, what was because we met at someone's house. We met at like a party or somebody was having some sort of party. No idea whose house it was. No idea
No,
why I was there. Because obviously I was dragged there by other people, and I have no idea. And you probably don't even remember why you were there.
I
At
have
the
no idea. And I think we've talked about it in the past where the only thing that both of us can remember is a living room or like a room with Apple wallpaper. Like it
Yes,
was
the
just
dining.
apples.
It was their
Yeah.
dining room, and yeah, I remember. I think you and I just kind of like. I think what we bonded on was movies. I think that night. I can't. I mean, obviously,
And apples.
and Apple. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, apples. I mean, it's so long ago that like I couldn't for the life of me remember that conversation that we had that night that we kind of hit it off and became friends.
No, and I think that if anyone who is listening right now, grew up in Crossfield and knows about or knows of a house with Apple wallpaper, like fill us in,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. If that's still if the Apple wallpaper house still exists, please tell us whose fucking house that was,
Yeah.
because I have no idea. But anyway, so how are you? How are things? Like, how's isolation going?
I saw this meme because, of course, like, the internet is rampant with memes anyway, but now on COVID, everyone's isolating. So they've become really interesting. But there was this one and it said something like, I didn't realize that my lifestyle was called quarantine. So I'm doing fine. Like, it's not really different than how I usually live my life, which is pretty sad. I've realized now in quarantine when everyone's like panicking about not going outside. I think, like, okay, well, maybe I should, you know, develop a new hobby or something that involves going outside. But that's for future past COVID me.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, we can worry
Um,
about that later.
so you find that you're noticing like are you noticing your like introverted tendencies more due to this, like where you're like, oh shit, like all right, because obviously all of us like leave the house and go do things and whatnot, but when you're forced to stay home and the ability to go out like to a bar or go to a restaurant or all that is ripped away from you for lack of a better term, uh like I've noticed that I definitely have introverted tendencies and I do like being at home and I do like just kind of lazing about doing my own thing, but I'm definitely noticing like the extroverted side of me is just like, fuck, I want to leave the house. Like I want to go to a movie theater. I want to go to a restaurant and eat food and kind of, and mostly it's just like I just want to go see my friends and like sit on their couch and play video games with them, like not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm like a little. I have to admit that I still think. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into a big political discussion about COVID, but um, I think it's really hard for me now that it has been ripped away from me. Understanding if I'm just saying no to something because I'm kind of introverted. Like when it was first kind of coming in, I thought, no, I don't. I want to stay inside. But I don't know if I was just using it as a crutch. I'm like, look, there's this pandemic. I can't go outside. But I was having a conversation with my mom, who's nearly 70 years old, and she's like, I'm going out. I'm getting like new stuff for my dishwasher, and I need all this furniture moved, and I need you to come help me. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not coming to your house. Like, I can't come to your house. It's not allowed. And she's like, Well, I'm sure that you're hanging out with your other friends. I've seen, like, are you sure you're not hanging out with Paige? Or, like it's just
Yeah.
so funny. And then I called her yesterday. I feel like I'm I don't know, becoming the parent of my own mother.
Yep.
I'm like, please don't move stuff. You can fall very easily. Like, I get on the phone and she can hear the TV in the background, and she's like, "Who's there? Who's at your house? You're hanging out with someone?" I'm like, "Mom, no. I promise I'm not trying to avoid you. Like, I love you very much, but you're vulnerable. You're just a little old lady. Like,
Yeah. Well,
no."
and that's a big thing right now. Like even with Krista's mom, like Krista's doing the exact same thing, like trying to explain to her mom like you can't leave the house. Like you can't just stay home. And I think it was last weekend or within the last kind of week or whatever. Krista goes, my mom went to the bank today. And I'm like, what the fuck is she going to the bank for? Like, she's like, oh, just to get out of the house. And I'm like, and Krista's like, yeah, I'm really mad at her because, you know, like, again, she's having to do the same thing, like parent her parents, because I don't feel like I don't feel like a lot of them are really getting it. And they're the ones that are
No.
most at risk.
No, I had a conversation with my mom when it was first breaking. And again, I don't want to make this like heavy, but I was feeling really panicked, and like
Yeah.
not only because of the virus, which to be honest, I'm not as concerned about. It's more so the economic impact and how people
Yeah.
are being laid off in droves. Like it's insane. And of course, she's like, well, listen, your grandfather, he lived through World War I, the Spanish flu. Like this is nothing. And I mean, she has like there's some merit to that.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but it doesn't mean that you can go outside or like go to your aqua size class. I was like, you can't just please fucking stay home.
Where are they holding that? Is that
They're not anymore,
Oh,
but
okay.
initially, yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say, like, aren't all the rec centers and stuff closed now? Like, yeah. No, even for I think my dad, what did he text me yesterday or the day before? And he's like, what's up? You still at home? I'm like, yeah, dude. I haven't left. I've left once to go to the grocery store, get the shit I need, and come straight home. Like, I'm not going out and doing things. I was like, are you staying at home? And all I got was a one-word answer. Nope. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, I was like, what's so important that you need to go and do? He's like, oh, I went and helped my buddy build something in his fucking semi trailer or whatever. And then he's like, and then I'm going to go and work on my woodworking project in the garage. And I'm like, that's great. Go do that. Cause that's a great quarantine project. Don't go to your friend's house and help him build shit. Stay the fuck home.
We picked up a mattress that mom bought on Kijiji. I guess not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. And so, I mean, still in like its beginning stages here in Canada. I'm like, mom, the fuck? Like, no. Also a mattress. And she was like, I don't understand. She's wanting to rent out her house, which, great. That's awesome. But now she's focused on it. She's like, I'm going to move all this furniture by myself. I'm going to pick up this stuff. People can't have a broken dishwasher. I'm going to go do this. I'm like, okay, but everything's on pause anyway. Like you can move as fast as you want.
Yeah.
Like it's still going to be on pause everywhere else. Like, I don't know. I do have to admit, you said you went to a grocery store, and I have been out sparingly, like occasionally a walk, but I think it's really interesting how people are very quick to adopt that 6-foot rule or 2-meter rule.
Right.
And you're taking your car through the lane and you see someone and you almost stop, like deer headlights, like, oh my gosh, which one of us is going to move out of the way? Like, it's a very different experience.
Yeah. Cause I went to Costco yesterday. And
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, actually it wasn't that bad. It was, I kind of thought the same thing. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this? Sorry, Krista said we froze, so I'm just making sure it's all good. What was I? Oh, Costco. Yeah. So I went to Costco, and it's like the worst fucking Disneyland you've ever been to in your entire life. I'm not kidding. When you're walking up to the front doors, they've got like stacks of pallets, like 6 feet high, all over the place, because as a way to like corral people. So like they've built this shitty turnstile like style. You're not going on Splash Mountain. You're literally waiting in line to go get fucking groceries. But they have a decent system. Because when I got in line, I was back by the tire shop. So I thought, oh, fuck, man, I'm going to be here for like 3 hours waiting to get my fucking toilet paper and paper towel and groceries and shit. And honestly, it moved really quick because they've got it set up where there's a constant stream of people coming out, and every time they let like 10 people out, they let 10 people in because they can't have they can't have more than, what is it, 50 people in the store at once or whatever. So it actually makes for a really nice Costco experience because
Oh.
there's less fucking people in the
Mhm.
store. You can actually in certain areas of the store. There's still like what you're talking about where in like say like the meat aisle or like some of the food areas, like there's people just kind of like parking their carts and then walking across to get, and so there's like people blocking the aisle and you're like, fuck, what are you doing? Like I have to go around you and break the social distancing and there's people just aren't using their heads. And then there's people who work there standing there holding signs that say
Mhm.
like social distancing, and then they've got like a little like 6 feet apart symbol on it or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks because you have to like you're just standing there all day holding this goddamn sign to people that don't give a shit anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really I don't know. My brother, as you know, but for everyone else, he lives in London, UK.
Yep.
Um, and I don't know. I think obviously the first responders are the real MVPs of this whole fucking thing, but people who are still working in stores, I mean, it's kind of like the ones that are in the essential services, like those at Costco, those at grocery stores, gas stations. I'm like, holy shit, I couldn't imagine how
No.
anxious or fearful they must be going to work. And I thought of this beautiful thing, and or my brother was telling me on the phone, or telling my mom. Anyway, so my mom's talking to my brother on the phone, and he's like, "Just give me a second, I got to put the phone down." And all she hears is a lot of clapping and
Oh
like
yeah.
cheering and stuff like that. Yeah. So every day at 8 p.m., everyone opens their doors to their balcony and like cheers and claps as loud as they can for the first responders. And I think, hopefully that the people who are in essential services feel that too, because I mean, I'm so fucking lucky to be at home beside my dog and cats
Yeah.
and like not having to go out,
a
and
hundred
then
percent.
still be making money.
Yeah. No. So you are working from home.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure no one's listening. It's hard to work at home,
It is.
especially with this. Like, I feel that I can do it, ad hoc every once in a while, but nearly coming on 3 weeks of working at home and work's like becoming a lot slower because everyone's feeling the effect of it. And I work in public relations. So,
Right.
a lot of people, like, they just don't have the money anymore, or, like it's a really difficult environment anyway.
Right.
And so, it's, yeah, it's different, but I'm, like I said, like, I'm super lucky
Yeah.
to be here.
No,
Yeah.
and I feel the same way. I feel very grateful to be in the position that I'm in, and my heart goes out to everybody that is on
Mm-hmm.
the front lines, like you say, and has to deal with. Like I have friends who are nurses and doctors and stuff like that, and they're the ones that are at the highest risk for all of this shit because um, people aren't staying the fuck home like they're supposed
No.
to. It's really sad in a lot of ways that and this goes back to what I was saying about my extroverted kind of side coming out and being like, oh, I want to go out and I want to go do all this stuff. Well, everything's closed anyway, so it's like I may as well just stay home. But the people that are like actively hosting parties and having people come over
Mm-hmm.
and like those people fucking suck.
Yeah.
Like 100% they fucking suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it is a difficult time. I mean, I think
Yep.
I've spoken to a lot of friends who have had family members die, or weddings be postponed,
Yeah.
indefinitely, which is two sides of the same coin. But I mean, not having all your loved ones there when you're
Yeah.
either celebrating or more in mourning. I mean, fuck. It's just, but it's hitting everyone, and I think that's what everyone as a collective is really feeling, is that sense of community, and that like no one's alone. And if you're postponing your wedding, and if someone's getting laid off, like, so are a lot of other people. And I'm not
Right.
saying that like, that's a good thing, but I think having that feeling that you're not alone in whatever you're experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, big spectrum.
Oh, for sure. And this is, I think, as a society, this is like one of the, I don't know, biggest. This is one of the worst things we've experienced collectively as a society, and it has brought us together in a lot of ways. And I've seen a lot of stuff where memes and whatnot, where people are like, once this is kind of all over, like what this is teaching us, like, is how little we actually need and how much we should value our friendship connections and our family and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like I've talked to my family more in these last 2 weeks than I have like in the past 2 years, simply because we just we're we have time.
Yeah.
We're being forced to, like, we spend our lives putting things off for so long because well, I'll do it when I have time. I'll do it when I have time. I'll do it when I have time. Okay, well, you have fucking time now. You
Hmm.
have the time. Just whatever it is, do it. And that's exactly why I'm doing this and getting back into making these kind of videos and stuff, is because like there's no more excuses. Like I have time. you know
Yeah, you saying that, um, the best piece of like strangely acquired wisdom that I'd ever received. This was years ago, and I was at the Brooks Brothers or something, like some manly shop in Cross Iron Mall,
Yeah, yeah.
getting a gift for someone. And for some reason, I think maybe the clerk saw my tattoo or something, and we started talking about meditation. And I said, like, I don't know, I just never find the time to do it. And he was like, well, the trick is when you start meditating or you start doing this thing, you realize that all you have is time. And I mean, I haven't really taken his advice to heart. It's always kind of sat in the back of my head, but it's true. It's like, all you have is time, and how you schedule things, and how you reach out. Like if you're going to reach out to people, like, I don't know, I find being self-isolated. We were talking about Tiger King before
Right.
we came live, and I hadn't finished it yet. And I thought, one of the reasons why I haven't is because I realized that all I do is watch TV.
Right.
Like that's my time.
Yeah.
That's how I spend it. I don't know.
Watching TV. No, and time is a very time's one of the, if you equate it to a currency, time is one of those things that you can't get back. Like all you can do is spend it, right? So spending it on like this is, I mean, that's something that I've always had in the back of my head, but like as long as you're spending your time in effective ways that actually make you happy, then you're using your currency properly, right? It's like it goes back to that whole thing that there was like a video that went viral a little while ago. I don't remember when, but he was like, what if I gave you, it was like a set amount of money or whatever, and it was a lot of money, and he was like, what if I gave you this set amount of money every single day, and it was like 1 million blah 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 or whatever, but it equated to the number of seconds in a day, and he said that you had to spend the entire amount every single day. You could not roll it over into the next day, because what he was trying to point out is that each second that we spend every day, we don't get it. It doesn't roll over to the next day. We've spent all of that in one day. So, I mean, if watching TV is not bad, especially in a time like this, like it's not a bad thing, because we need something to distract ourselves from the fact, from what's going on. So we actually are living in one of the most well-connected and most content-filled generations of our entire lives. And I'm very thankful for that, because there's a lot of distractions out there.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm yeah, privy to a few, but I mean, and that's exactly right. I think during this time, especially, but any time, you need to be gentle with yourself and what you need and want out of your day. There's a popular self-help guru, and I can't remember his name right now, but he
We did a
not
lot of
Tony Robbins.
no, we did a lot of
Fucking hate
research
Tony
going
Robbins.
into this.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so let me just look at my notes.
Yeah.
No, but he's really big on that, how many seconds there are in a day, or how many minutes there are in a day, and really using that to your advantage. I think it's 1440. I don't know if that's probably minutes. I mean, seconds wouldn't really matter. But his whole thing is, you take that 1440, how are you going to use it? And put that number on your laptop or somewhere where you're looking at it every day, and like use every minute. But I think there's a lot of pressure to be consistently busy, or like productive, and there's a difference between being productive and busy. And I think for me, and especially in this time, like I feel guilty for not being productive.
Yeah.
I feel guilty that I haven't, like, spring cleaned my house, or done whatever, or like played on my iPad, or done whatever. I there's always that, especially when you kind of are used to escaping through TV or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, there is a sense of guilt, and it's a difficult balance to allow yourself the freedom to, disappear for a little bit in Tiger King, but also to, like, be gentle with yourself in terms of what you're able to produce. Anyways, like right now is a really stressful time, regardless of whether you have a job or not. Like it is, like you mentioned, we've never experienced this before, especially
Nope.
our generation. Like,
Well, it's not something I ever thought we would
no,
see in our lifetime. Fuck.
no,
Not at
no.
all. But yeah, you're exactly right. You got to be gentle with yourself and start drinking at noon
Uh,
and
it's actually one.
Okay, it's one. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's, you know what? Bring Chris on. She'd be totally. Chris,
How so how is Brock doing? He's in the UK. He's in London.
yeah. So he does huge events for companies like Harper's Bazaar and NARS Cosmetics, and these massive, crazy events that make it onto the cover of New York Times. Like
Right.
he is beyond belief brilliant and creative. I think he's having a really rough time because in the UK they're shutting down. Like you cannot leave the house.
Are they on full lockdown?
They're on full lockdown. You are allowed to leave the house for like essential services,
Right.
once a day, I think is my understanding.
Okay.
And then I think an exercise as well. And I'm not clear if that's like 2 different times a day you're allowed to leave or just the one. But it's like you said. I mean, it's tough when someone says no. Like even if you're used to staying at home, if someone says you can't do something, then automatically your brain is like, well.
Yeah, it's the defiance thing where you're like, well, the petulant child in you comes out and you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I won't do what you tell me. I'm gonna go to the movie theater even though it's closed.
Yeah, the 14-year-old anarchist in me is like, fuck the government. I'm like, no. Listen, please. Listen to the government.
Yeah, listen to the health officials. The government sucks. I want to listen to the health officials. And thankfully, here in Alberta, we have Dr. Dina Hinshaw, and she is an absolute badass and an angel in this time of fucking pandemonium. Like she is incredible and so well spoken and just like super she comes across like she gives a shit about what she's talking about. Like we it could be worse. I don't want to get too political. Like I'm not a big Trudeau supporter, but at least the dude is like eloquent enough to come and like, talk to the country in a very eloquent way. Whereas like it could be worse. We could have Trump. Where, like seriously, I can't imagine what people must think in the fucking States when the dude. I watched a couple CNN things with him on YouTube yesterday, and oh my god, just you think, okay, like, because we know it's bad. And then you kind of step away from it for a while and you're like, what is he really as bad as I remember? Like, is he really as stupid as I thought? And then you watch him talk in any capacity, and as soon as he opens your mouth, you're like, yep, he is.
Yeah.
He's a bad person.
Well, I think the thing that's really dangerous right now is like, regardless of your feelings towards Trump, what is fucking dangerous is that as we all know, his consistent tweets.
Yes.
Like they're fucking tweeting all the time.
I don't look at any.
Take his phone away.
I don't look at that shit.
And I think I see them as they come up. But one thing that I saw in the news, and it was a reputable news source, is recently he, on his Twitter, he keeps talking about a vaccination or like a cure to this coronavirus. And I'm like, this is that, there's animal trials, human trials. Like there's so much work that needs to be done before something actually hits the fucking market. You can't just be like, know what? By Easter we're gonna have a vaccine. I'm like, bullshit. That's not even
Easter. Maybe like happen. 2 years from now.
Yeah, like can't happen.
At minimum 18 months away.
And that's dangerous. Giving people that false hope, that's dangerous. And another thing is in France, which is true, they were doing this study on this one pill that it was used for malaria.
Okay.
Used to to cure malaria. And then this other chemical component, whatever, that's often used in fish tank cleaners.
Right.
So in France, they're finding some success, but keep in mind, these are not human trials and it's not on market. And so they're finding success in these pieces, but it's, it's not anywhere where you can make a tweet about it and it's, whatever. So this Donald Trump saw the study, I'm assuming, tweeted about the two chemicals that are achieving success. And this poor little fucking old couple in the States were like, oh, that's fish tank cleaner, and took them along with this other piece of medication. And they both, one died, one survived. And I just that's a very extreme case, but it's fucking dangerous. You fucking can't.
Wow.
Right? Like, you can't just go online right now. Like, people are listening and they're looking to the leaders to provide some guidance. And you have to be responsible with how you're engaging with people and what you're telling people to do. I mean, it's just really irresponsible.
It is really irresponsible. And you're right. People are looking to their leaders in those regards because they're fucking scared. Like, everyone's fucking really scared right now and doesn't want to, like, nobody wants to fucking die from this thing. Like, I mean, I'm not, personally, I'm not terrified of, like, necessarily what the disease would, like, or the virus would do to me. Like, okay, like, I feel like I would be able to fight it off or whatever, like, but that's why I'm doing my part in staying home and not, and like, even there was one day, I think within the last 2 weeks, I had to go and fill up my truck because it was empty. And I went, and this was like I think March 11th was when everything kind of started to shut down. So I think this was like March 14th or 15th. I'm at the Costco gas station or whatever, and no one is wearing gloves. Everyone's handling the pumps with their bare hands and like doing all that. They weren't kind of like, things hadn't really started to like shut down yet, but shit was starting to, like, people weren't believing it yet. So they're like all handling the pumps with their bare hands and stuff. And I was like, fuck that. Thankfully I had fucking gloves in my truck, and I'm like, and I was getting weird looks from people like for wearing gloves. And I'm like, you fucking dummies. Like, what do you think this is? So then, like, cut to like a week later, gas prices have dropped even more. I'm like, oh, I should probably go fill up the car. So this time I take the car and I go fill up. Everyone's wearing fucking gloves. And I was like, so now people are starting to clue in, but it's like, I'm hoping it's not kind of too little too late thing. Like, our numbers aren't growing nearly like what, like the States today. I'm looking at the numbers right now. The States, they're at 156,000 cases. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? And a lot of that is, like, I would say a direct result of like Trump misleading people and not people, and the government not shut. Oh shit, did we lose Robyn? Oh no, you're there. Trump misleading people and like kind of not shutting things down the way they're supposed to. Yeah. So unfortunately, I think there's the States is only going to get worse before it gets better. Thankfully in Canada, I think we're hopefully going to see the peak soon, but like it probably won't be till late April at this point. I mean, we're at the end of March already.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think that's what's starting to settle in. For me, I had a week of practicing my Ariana Grande sleeves. She doesn't have gloves. She's like 2 feet tall, and she always has like sleeves that go to this. I didn't have gloves. And it's a week of shock, and then it's gonna be a long fucking road. I think we should acknowledge though how celebrities posting about coronaviruses in their giant fucking mansion. I saw this article yesterday. I think it was on BuzzFeed. There was several articles about Rose Huntington Whitley. I think this is her, and she's this beautiful Victoria's Secret model, and she's really struggling to keep her toddler entertained in their big mansion. And she's married to that who's that really hot British bald guy. He's in a lot of crime movies.
Jason Statham?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good one.
Is that
But you
who
look
she's actually married to?
yeah, or like
Oh,
they're engaged, but that's their kid. Anyway, so
okay.
you look at their mansion and like many celebrities, you know, there's very avant-garde furniture and then like, you know, gray walls and where do you fucking sit? Everything's
Right.
gallery. I'm like, no shit, you're having a problem with the toddler. But also, I mean, I think you guys have the resources to get
Yeah.
by. I think it'll be
Yeah.
okay.
What is one of the things I saw in an article much like that where it kind of just like lists off different, like they're like, oh, these celebrities are in quarantine and this is what they're doing or whatever, and most of it's like making fun of them because it's just like, give me a fucking break, like you guys are fine. And one of the photos is like Sam Smith, um
Right.
yeah, like sitting in his fucking mansion, like crying like this, just like, oh, quarantine. And it's like, dude, fucking relax. Like, it's only, and at that point, I think it had only been a week. Like,
Yeah.
and then and then there's people equating it to how Anne Frank like hid in the,
No. No.
that's what people went. That's where people went. They were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Anne Frank hid in that attic for like 724 days. Like, give me a fucking break. You can hang out in your mansion for a few days or whatever. And it's like, gee, like there's like two wildly different versions of the spectrum where like celebrities are on one half of it singing Imagine, and then there's like everyone else going like, fuck you, like spend some fucking money, like help people.
Actually, my boss has been sharing a lot of Ryan Reynolds Instagram posts, and his are absolutely phenomenal, like spot on. You know,
Ryan
he's
Reynolds? Oh yeah.
yeah, promoting social distancing. He had that scene from Deadpool where he's like in the wheelchair riding around the X Academy.
Yeah.
It was just he was great. But I mean, if you equate yourself to Anne Frank, who was legitimately like a 13-year-old girl in fear for her fucking life because the Holocaust is happening outside. I mean,
No, Sam Smith didn't equate himself to that.
no, but just anyone who
Yeah, yeah,
would.
yeah.
Like that is not. I mean, listen. Again, I do believe in like in being gentle with yourself and others. And I mean, I'm not a celebrity. I've never known a fucking celebrity. I don't know, and I'm sure that it would be painful, like as a performance artist, to let's say lose a whole year of show that you're passionate about. I don't know, fine, but like just some like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Get your head on fucking straight. Like look at what's happening in the world and kind of like insert yourself into where you kind of fit in. How can you help? How can
Yeah.
like everyone's going through something. Like and I don't know, you're not inspiring sympathy.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, you're right. I feel no sympathy for any of the and that's a totally different thing between, or but yeah, between someone that's like, say, like, you know, who you were talking about, the the supermodel or whatever, and she's like, oh, I'm having trouble like dealing with my toddler, and Sam Smith crying in his fucking huge house, versus somebody like you're saying, like say like a local artist that had like shows or a tour booked that is now like, that's revenue that's being taken away from them now, where they wouldn't be able to draw revenue in other avenues, versus somebody who's already fucking like massively successful and has a ton of money. Like, I feel no sympathy for that, for those people, and especially in like a woe is me kind of way. And those are the people that need to like step up the most and help out the most, because like fucking I was talking about this the other day with somebody where what is it, Jeff Bezos started a fucking relief fund for like Amazon employees, and then was asking for donations from people
No fucking way.
I know, isn't that fucking mind blowing?
No.
That's like that just makes you sick to your stomach, because you're like, why should I have to donate money to help your employees? Like, why when you're the richest fucking man on the planet, you have more money, you have 113 times more money than anyone needs. 130 he has like 113,000 times more money than anyone fucking needs on the goddamn planet, and he's asking people who are like normal people who are getting laid off and are like losing jobs and all this stuff, to fucking donate for his employees. Like, go fuck yourself, man. He could spend $1 billion of his own money to help his own employees, and fucking he wouldn't even know it was gone.
No.
And it would have been good press for him to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm setting up a relief fund for my employees, and I'm going to make sure that they're okay through this turbulent time, whether they're working or not, especially if they have to like take time off work due to COVID or whatever. That it would have been like insane press for him to be like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then like so many people would have been like, fuck yeah, I'm going to continue buying from Amazon or whatever. Because unfortunately, as a society at this point, we're like super dependent on Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, I ordered cat food that came. I mean, I didn't want to go to a pet store, but
Well, exactly. In the turbulent
support local, but
well,
I'm sorry.
Of course, you want like support local when you can, but like right now, that's super hard. And there's just certain things. Pardon me. There's certain necessities that you need, and while convenience trumps, trumps, the fact that we can't go out. And like that a lot of businesses are closed. But I have a feeling that once this shit is over and like local businesses are start back up and are kind of kicking off and restaurants open up and all that stuff, like there are going to be lineups to get into restaurants. There are going to be like movie theaters are going to be fucking full. Local shows and they're all going to be sold out. Like people are going to support the fuck out of their communities when this is done. And I really hope that that's the case, because that is what our economies are going to need once this is over. I would actually like to see Amazon take a little bit of a dip once this is over, so that we actually go out and come together as a community and support each other as much as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's going to be more important than ever. I mean, I think maybe I was getting a little bit too existential with my mom when she brought up listen, there was the Spanish flu and all this.
Like, come on, I've Spanish flu.
Yeah, I'm like, man. But I think that, and she agreed with me. After this has kind of reached a peak and life has settled down again, we're gonna have like a completely new world order in how we work and how we engage with each other, which is gonna be fucking terrifying, but it's gonna be really exciting. Like I think I don't know what they'd call this age of life after COVID, but
yeah,
it's gonna be different.
And it's it's kind of funny the way things work, because like if you look back at like 1999 2000, like pre 9/11, like the world was totally different, and then September 11th happened, and I don't even think any of us really remember what pre 9/11 world was like, because for us, we were babies. Like we were so young when that happened, and that kind of set the course for the direction our adolescence into our teen years and into our adulthood like took. And we witnessed a lot of atrocities due to that happening, and certain governments taking advantage of kind of the outrage due to the people, and then fueling that into like a bunch of like heinous shit that we and like heinous and like hateful shit that we've seen over like throughout the years. And now here we are in 2020, and it's like the year, and this is what people keep saying, is like the year started off with like Trump getting into a Twitter feud with Iran and almost starting World War III. And it's like that, like, which would you have rather had, a global pandemic or World War III? Well, the global pandemic, yes, it's horrible. It's absolutely like the worst. It's awful. Like this is not something that anybody wants to live through. However, what if this is what it takes to kind of bring the world just a little bit closer together, because we all have a common enemy now. And this is something that that this is what Watchmen is about with Adrian Veidt, and I know, right? I know. I'm going there. This is exactly what Adrian Veidt like, and the dude's a fucking in that book. The guy's a fucking madman, and he kills millions of people in New York to kind of because in his own head, he says it's for the greater good. But like, I'm not saying that thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people dying. I'm not saying that should happen in order for us to come together as a society, not even as a community, as a fucking society. But like, that might be what's happening right now, you know, because a world war would tear us apart. And what we're seeing is in our
giant squid.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing a giant squid in our most isolated and disconnected time. We're actually the most connected we've ever been in our entire lives.
Totally.
Because we live in the internet era. It's kind of, it's like fucked up in a way, but it's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to find the positive in all of it, if that makes sense.
No, but it does make sense, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you see like more even on a smaller scale, like neighbors are looking out for each other. There was a really cute little a clip I saw of everyone kind of crowding around the house of an elderly person, like not close to the house but far away, and singing her happy birthday from the window. Or, you know, I mean, I think that more than ever our community has come together to support one another. And I mean, I think you're right. Thinking of it as a giant squid that's what it is. And hopefully it'll have less fatalities. And I think that it will. I mean, the biggest concern is just how to contain it.
Yeah.
But I think it is a beautiful thing. And even now, I mean, supporting local business through Skip the Dishes and like little things, staying inside. I mean, everyone's just, I don't know. Also, I've seen the interiors of all my coworkers' homes, so I just like feel more connected.
That's fair.
Anyway, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but you know.
No. That's totally. It's like little things like that, because those are things that you don't necessarily get, like, see, you know, from coworkers all the time, is like them in their own environments, and like they're, you know, it kind of loosens up the I don't know, like stiffness of say an office or kind of work environments, and maybe loosens people up a little bit, and like maybe you bond with people that you didn't necessarily gel with before in like different ways, and you kind of find something about somebody that you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. Like, you know, like they could have a giant Star Wars painting behind them or whatever, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize you were a Star Wars fan. Like, let's fucking talk about that for 2 hours, and then, oh shit, we should probably do some work, you know, kind of thing. Like, that's kind of the beautiful thing about what's happening right now. And I'm trying, like I said, trying to focus on the positives of everything.
I think there are a lot of positives, though. I mean, and I think that's and I think that's a good way of living while this is going on. Because I mean, if you sink too deeply into all of the other shit that's going on, it's going to be really hard to get out of that space. You don't have, regardless of like, I do agree that the internet is brings people together, and even more so right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still, you don't have that touch point. Like I can't go and hug my mom. I'm like, but I have a lot of sleepovers with my mom, and so I haven't, just little things that you're used to in terms of like having that personal contact. But in other positive news, greenhouse gas emissions, and nitrous oxide levels have gone down majorly, which is in part people aren't fucking flying or driving or doing anything. It's just little pockets of silver linings, and if you take away the reasons why for them, like why they're happening, remains a positive.
For sure. And it's funny, it's kind of neat to see how quickly the environment is reacting and adapting and kind of repairing itself in that way as well. You know, like the what is it, the canals in Venice or whatever, they actually have they have dolphins in the canals because there's there's actually like there's dolphins, and the water's clear, and like because there's no boats running through, and like everything's locked down, so it's like they're actually like the water's like I said, cleared up, and there's actually like, you know, marine life like swimming through there now. And like, So it's kind of like, it's also this eye-opening thing of like, man, like we actually have like a really harsh kind of footprint on the earth.
Yeah. Like,
What's up, Sam?
yeah. I have headphones in. He said hi. He's cuddling with the dog now.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But no, that's yeah, that's exactly it. And I think it's going to be difficult, and I don't know if it's going to get easier or harder for everyone like these weeks coming up. And I think it all depends. I think people with mental health illnesses really need to stay on top of your self-care.
Oh
Be
yeah.
careful, listen to your body, relax, and reach out for help if you need it. I think one thing that's really amazing is there are a lot, like, the online community is kind of stepping up, and there are a lot of different tools, I think, now for everyone, like for support.
Right.
Yeah, anyway.
No, which is good. And I mean, and to go back to the I want to go back to the kind of the Amazon thing, but not Amazon in particular. Amazon is kind of, they've written their own kind of how they want to deal with their employees and whatnot. There's a lot of businesses out there right now that are stepping up to take care of their employees, and this
Mm-hmm.
also speaks to like I know Sobeys and Safeway, they're giving their employees like hazard pay right now
Wow.
for working. Yeah, they're paying them extra for going into work and kind of having to deal with this. And I think there's a lot of grocery stores that are, I hope there's a lot of grocery stores that are doing this, because those people are on the front line. Unfortunately, in our fucking province, the government is in a massive battle with healthcare right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that it hasn't remotely been resolved at all. And they're still like, it's a testament to how committed and dedicated these folks are to helping people and to saving lives and shit like that. And I feel like the government needs to kind of recognize that and actually, like with some of these contract negotiations they're going through, and the government is trying to act like the healthcare workers are greedy and anything like that. It's like, that's not true. Like, they deserve every fucking penny they earn, and absolutely more. There's actually one thing, I think it was in Italy or something, where they were interviewing some health minister or somebody related to healthcare or whatever, and she said, you give these football players $1 million, and you give
Mm-hmm.
the healthcare person $1,800 or whatever it is. She's like, go find the fucking, or like, go get your cure from the people that you pay millions of dollars, because they're the ones that you guys respect, and they're the ones that because that's where the money's flowing.
Yeah.
Clearly you don't respect what doctors and nurses and shit are doing, because there's not, that you're not showing that. A friend's mom told me once, when I was laid off from my previous job, she said, if they're not showing you the money, they don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they want to keep you around and they respect what you're doing, they will show you the money. And it's 100% true. Like, somebody in the chat here posted, Anonymous Bullfrog said, all of the Disney executives are taking pay cuts to keep their cast members paid and safe, which is awesome, because
Amazing.
all of the Disney parks are closed. And so all of those people who would normally be working, and making their living working at Disney, well, they don't have to worry about not working, because people who are way overpaid are taking pay cuts, which is good, because I mean, like, I'm sure 90% of those people have more money than, again, it's just like, I guess it's a distribution of wealth thing. And I feel like we're going to have some real interesting talks about the distribution of wealth over the next.
Oh, and where our values are, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And, sorry, you mentioned Disney. Abigail Disney. Yeah, it was Disney co-founder. Her granduncle was Walt Disney.
Okay.
She has always been a really outspoken proponent for things for like equal pay. She's like, this is how much fucking money I make, and it's madness. That's her kind of ideology.
Well,
I
and
mean,
she
in a sense.
inherited a shit ton of money too
Yeah,
because she's a
and
good.
she's like, this is fucked. This is not how this distribution of wealth should be. And I agree with you. I think hopefully things will level out. So I'm just, but I think there's going to be it will come with more pressure from the people onto the government
Mm-hmm.
than ever. And I
Mm-hmm.
think there is already significant pressure in some respects. But I think, like you said, the people who have the voice at the table are those with, equally big pockets usually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I feel like
It's we're in the people said like like I want to bring back the roaring 20s, and it's like
got it.
people were joking in like 2018 and 2019 that like, well, here comes the Great Depression and shit like that, like for like the 2020 depression, and it's like, fuck, we're in it, like we're literally, this is what we're living through, and there's gonna be some interesting revolutions that happen over the next few years, and I fully feel like, how they did like in when before the clocks struck 12, like into 2020.
Oh yeah.
They do that wrap up. They're like, all right, here's what our last decade had from like 2010 to 2020, and like all the crazy shit that happened, in that 10 years. I think the next decade is going to be fucking wild. If anything, if these last 3 months are like any indicator of
Of anything.
yeah. No, you looked like
I
you looked
no,
like you
I
had a
was well,
thought.
I was thinking about and I know that this isn't unique to me because I before 2020 came in to fruition, like came to be, I was having so many conversations with a lot of people, and I was like, all the general sentiment was like, fuck yeah, 2020 is going to be our year. And that was a collective kind of thing. Like
Yep.
everyone's like stoked. Like there's this many Friday the 13th and 420 is going to be a permanent 420 this
420.
year. Yeah, sorry, lad. But people were stoked.
Oh, of course.
And not just for those things. Like those are irrelevant, but it's it took a veer to the left really sharply. But I think, I mean, I don't know, like we've been talking about, I think that this is a harbinger of change, and that's what it's going to be. And I think it's that big squid wake up call for a lot of people, like from environment to distribution of wealth. It's gonna be a ride. I agree.
And I do feel like we're living in the darkest timeline, if I can equate it to like a community reference. We are living in the darkest timeline. Like fucking, we moved into 2020, and like our dimensions split off into two parallel kind of timelines, and we for some reason got the darkest one, and there's like another timeline that's like living, like they're like, yep, it's the roaring 20s, and like
Yeah.
everything's peachy keen. Like COVID got wrapped up in like January 1st, like it wasn't even like Wuhan, what happened, like it was all good. And like we're living in the darker of the two timelines. Like we have coronavirus everywhere now. Kobe died in a fucking helicopter crash.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit is like literally off the rails. It's still like we're sitting here talking about it, and it still doesn't feel real. Like none of this feels real.
No, I think that's a big problem too. And when I mentioned, it is hard to work from home. The biggest thing is like not really working from home. Like I can fucking work from home. I have no problem doing that. But the biggest thing is this cloud of uncertainty and the fact that you don't know what's happening next week. And I think that for a lot of people, it's paralyzing. Like for me, it's very paralyzing because
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly like I wake up and I do some work shit, and then I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait for this Alberta update. Not that it ever provides me with something else. It's just like that uncertainty before the 3:30 update by Dr. Hinshaw. Like
Yep.
until then, I'm like, fuck. I'm just gonna watch The Mentalist. Which really, I'm into it now. So that's what I've been doing.
The Mentalist.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I think we should jump off of.
Yeah. Let's
We've been going for an hour, so let's
get out of here,
jump off
COVID.
of COVID and
Go away.
talk about more entertainment stuff. So, like, tell me about all of the content that you've been kind of ingesting.
Yeah, really grade A shit like Extreme Makeover Home Edition returned with Jesse Thompson, I want to say. It's the guy from Modern Family.
Oh, really?
Um, Pardon?
They brought back the show with
Yeah, with the redhead.
Jesse Ferguson.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think
Yeah, so
that's his
it's
name.
been watching that. There was Amazon. I don't know why it is Amazon. So on Amazon Prime, they have like different channels now that you can get for an additional amount of money per month. So there's Stack TV, and then there's, I don't know, a few other things that
Oh,
you
they have like
spend.
Hey You and fucking
Yeah, exactly.
Out
Exactly.
TV and all that stuff. Okay, so which ones do you subscribe to then?
Well, it's a free subscription, so I'm getting the most out of Extreme Makeover Home Edition while I
Oh,
can.
okay.
Like, I'm not paying more fucking money. Like, yeah, that's, we're not getting into it, but home stuff, nothing really like Westworld a bit.
Oh, what? Okay. Are you on season 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched. There's only no. I guess there would be 3 episodes out because
Yeah.
yesterday was Sunday, so I haven't watched any of the new season yet. But is it good so far?
I've actually only seen the first episode. It was good. I mean, I really like Westworld, but I found the last time I watched season 2 or even season 1, it takes a long time to like wrap your fucking head around it, like
Yeah.
what's going on. So coming into season 3, I mean, I watched the first episode, but I think I should go on YouTube and source some video about like that summarizes season 2, because I knew certain aspects of what happened, but like I don't know why this guy's over here and what's she doing over here. Like I just can't. It's just it's
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah. And season 3, I know season 3 is taking place a little bit further in the future from what happened in season 2, and it's like a totally different setting because
Well, it's
they're
super fucking sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no. Go ahead.
It's super cool because this whole time we've only been privy to Westworld and like what these rich people are paying. We haven't seen the outside
Right.
world, and so now in season 3 you kind of get a sense of like what it's like outside, and it is awesome. Like it's all those sci-fi pictures that you see in magazines.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow.
That's cool.
But
I'm excited to watch it, and that one's definitely in the docket for me. What else?
yeah,
What else you got?
what else I got? I mean, again, a lot of the Mentalist is good because you can put it on the background while I'm working, and it's like background noise. You don't really need to be invested in what's going on. I could find out or not who killed the person. Like it doesn't. It's
It's like
nice.
it's the new CSI.
Yeah, new Forensic Files. I think I've whipped through Forensic Files. So yeah, it's just like it's a new CS. No, it's not new. I mean,
What's not new?
The Mentalist. I
Oh,
think it's like 10,
no.
20 years old. Yeah.
No, it's not 20 years old, but it's
Oh,
definitely it was definitely in the 2010s. Because
yeah.
it's like the curly hair guy that's like all the
Yeah,
time.
that's the face.
Yeah, that's the face.
face.
No,
Like
I'm smarter than you, and I can see shit. And I don't know how that show goes.
that's basically it. You summarized it. That is essentially the show.
I have been, Krista and I have both been. I think I've watched through How I Met Your Mother, the entire series twice.
Wow.
Twice, end to end, in the last couple weeks. And now I'm back on The Office.
Mm-hmm.
Like last winter, I think I watched The Office end to end 5 or 6 times.
Holy shit.
Well, just because like it's one of those shows that I can like endlessly watch over and over and over again and never stop laughing at. So
Yeah.
If there's nothing, like if I'm just like I don't really want to, it's that thing of like you don't start something new because you have to mentally prepare yourself for it. Like it's like this like subconscious like I don't want to start that yet because I'm not mentally in a space where I can take in something new. So you'll throw on something that's familiar, like Friends, How I Met Your Mother, The Office. Even Parks and Rec isn't that for me yet, but I am going to rewatch that series eventually. But yeah, like The Office, I'll throw it on and then it'll just like let it run for in the background. It's the same thing with The Mentalist. Just let it run in the background. Like I love that show so much.
Yeah. Well, for good reason.
Yeah, and it's been kind of nice too because studios have been releasing movies that
Mm.
are like currently in theaters straight to VOD because they have no other option because there's no theaters right now. So that's been kind of nice, like watching brand new. I've watched quite a few of the brand new films that have come out, and um, most notably, I guess, was The Way Back with Ben Affleck.
Oh, is it? What is that?
Oh, he plays a like high school basketball coach.
Oh, what was that one with Ryan Reynolds? It's the same idea in like the early 2000s. Not Ryan Reynolds, Gosling. He was a basketball coach and it was really sad.
Oh, you're thinking of and he's like a heroin addict.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So not
Yeah.
like that movie or like that movie.
No, 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 no. Not quite as artsy. This is a little bit more like blockbustery, like almost uh like Friday Night Lights or like Remember the Titans, but like
Oh,
basketball. And yeah, Affleck plays a great drunk because obviously he's struggled with alcohol for many many years, but he's fantastic in that movie. It's a really, that might be my new favorite like sports movie.
really?
Yeah, it's really good. I thought it was really heartfelt and really well done, and it was just nice to like. Like that was one that I was really hoping wasn't gonna get delayed due to
Hmm.
COVID, because like obviously they were just like fuck it, let's just really well we'll just put it out. Whereas the new James Bond movie, which I
Hmm.
actually was preparing for because it was supposed to come out in April. It was supposed to
Hmm.
come out like April 16th or something like that. So I've never been a Daniel Craig like
Mm-mm.
James Bond fan. Like
Me either.
never really, yeah. And uh well, beginning of March when they were like really airing commercials like all the time, I was like, all right, like maybe I should sit down and fucking watch these James Bond like maybe I should watch his James Bond movies because I never really gave him a shot at all.
Yeah.
And I watched all four of them back to back over like 2 or 3 days or whatever. And actually, they're not horrible movies. Casino Royale, the first one, is the best one out of all of them, in my
Hmm.
opinion. But like, they're not horrible movies, and it actually kind of made me excited for No Time to Die or whatever the fuck the new one's called. But it got delayed to fucking November.
Yeah, it actually is pretty bonkers that some studios, were great on this video on demand, pushing it, and it felt like a treat.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you so much. Invisible Man was one. I wanted to speak about.
Did
Have
you
you seen
watch it?
Invisible Man? Yes,
I
we'll get
haven't
back to.
seen it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, Daniel Craig, I like him as a person. We just saw Knives Out. Knives Out was. I like him as.
He is incredible in
I
Knives
love him.
Out. He's incredible in that movie.
But James Bond, he's not suave. I mean, I know when they had talks of bringing on Idris Elba, and I was like, why the fuck isn't Idris Elba James Bond? This is so. It's you're on live chat. There's like people watching.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How many
Hi.
people?
I don't know. Okay, that's enough.
Like
Sorry.
five. That was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Don't encourage him. um, yeah. But as James Bond, and I'm with you. Like you said, he's not a horrible James Bond. He's just not maybe like the James Bond that he's no Sean Connery. Like I don't know.
Well, and then I've talked to people where they've made the argument for him, where they're like, well, okay, he's not as suave or dapper as James Bond, but he's way more badass, and I actually feel like he could actually kick the shit out of people or whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's really short. He's like short and stout. Like he's a short, stout little British man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad that this is his last one because it'll be. And I agree with you. I think Idris Elba should be James Bond. Like I would love to see him pick up the torch and kind of take it, but I don't think they'll ever do that
No, I don't think so either.
for
Not ready
political
for it.
reasons.
He'd be stellar. But I want to see The Hunt. The Hunt was initially delayed.
Yep.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay. How was it?
No,
tell me.
No, keep going. It was initially delayed.
It was initially delayed because they were concerned. Like it was around.
It was there was a couple massive shootings that happened.
Right.
And then they were like, it's probably in poor taste.
Yeah.
So they kind of shelved it for a while, and then I thought it was kind of funny because they started using that in their marketing. Like on the poster, it had the original date crossed out, and then right next to it, it had March 13th.
Oh.
Right. So that movie, like that movie, ran into some problems regardless, because eventually like March 13th was like right when this shit started kicking off, so people weren't going to the theaters anyway. So I think that's why they were like, fuck it, just put it out on VOD. In terms of the movie, I was quite excited to watch it. It definitely didn't go in the direction that I thought it would in certain ways. Not to say it's a bad movie. Like, it definitely had some really there were definitely some funny elements to it that kind of made me laugh and was like, all right, like I had fun watching it. But like I said, it kind of subverted my expectations in like a weird way I didn't kind of expect. That wasn't necessarily the way I would have done it, I guess. But still watch it, and then you'll have to get back to me on what you think about it.
I feel the same way about The Invisible Man, but perhaps because I love Elizabeth Moss and my expectations were like probably now after watching the movie out of control. I mean, I don't know.
Run me through that. The Invisible, is that? It's not like a Universal like monster movie, right?
No. The Invisible. I know it sounds like it. You know, it reminds me of. I think it was called The Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon in the late '80s. There was a film where Kevin Bacon was the Invisible Man. I think it's called the. What I'll have to get back to you.
I think that I'm gonna look that up, but I think that one's just called Invisible. But go on, keep talking.
Invisible. Either way, I loved it. Love Kevin. Love me some bacon. No, this I was disappointed. It's about this really rich man who's into biotics or something.
Okay.
Rather, like just Elizabeth Moss is dating him, and it opens up. I'm not giving anything away, spoiler free. But it was in the trailer. She's running away, and you assume it's because of some kind of domestic violence, and he ends up committing suicide, leaving her money. This is in the trailer, I promise.
Okay. Yeah. I believe you.
I I love my spoilers, but I won't give anyway. So then she starts kind of going a little fucking wacky because she thinks someone is like torturing her, but she can't see them. She can't see them, and you can see in the trailer like it's obvious that there's some kind of entity there, and it's alluded in the trailer that it could be this guy. So I mean, they really gave a lot of way in the fucking trailer, but you still hope that there's some time for thrills. And I was bored. I was so fucking bored.
Did they give away the whole movie in the trailer?
No, they didn't give away the whole movie, and there was definitely a twist at the end. But by that point, I felt like I was already one with the couch, and had given up, and I was like staring at the ceiling and trying to find patterns. That when the twist came, I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
little too late."
Yeah,
and it wasn't even really a twist. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of, The Hunt is similar. There's kind of like a twist thing that I was kind of like, oh, okay, all right, I guess. Little too on the nose of a, and it kind of pointless, like a really pointless. Just like, all right, I guess that's what you did.
Yeah, cool, okay.
But definitely watch it.
Yeah. And The Hunt looks like it has a little bit more action, at least. Like if I fall asleep, it'll wake me from my slumber with like some thing.
You should definitely watch it today and get back to me on that, because I want to hear what you think about that movie.
Yeah, well, no, I'm stoked. And $20, I'll spend $20.
Is that? Oh yeah, I guess it was that much, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I mean, you can.
It's less than a date night out to the movies. It's
exactly.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, that's why they can justify. They have to hit their box office somehow. They're not going to do it by like, oh yeah, rent it for $6.99.
No,
they're not going to do it because like the amount of people that torrented or fucking versus the people who actually pay for it, like they might get their budget back, but we'll see.
I wonder. Remember that when we used to go to movies as teenagers, and there was always that ad. I think this is Canada specific, but where they'd be like, "You wouldn't steal a library book."
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
I would torrent. I mean, I torrent not now, but I would. I would.
Yeah,
pirate.
I mean, we all at one point in our lives, and I'm not talking about myself specifically, but
no, me neither.
People have torrented at specific points in their lives. Not now, of course, but at certain points in their lives, it may have happened here or there. Because it's just that's sometimes you just want to see something that's region locked.
I can't even do it anymore. Like I remember doing it a lot. Like, well, admittedly, doing it a lot, but mostly for shows that we couldn't get access to, and it was right before Netflix or things that.
You're a bad person.
Oh, I know.
You're a bad person.
I burned the evidence, but no, and it'd be grainy and not worth it. Like I'm not gonna.
Oh, of course.
I'll spend money.
Yeah, of course.
I'm cheap-ish. Like I'm kind of cheap, but.
So with being in quarantine, give me like a list of like your top 5 feel good fucking like I'm just gonna sit and veg out like movies.
Oh, that is
That's what?
That's a hard question.
Well, it's a good thing I shortened it to 5 because I was originally I said top 10. That's what I wrote down.
I mean, I don't know. I typically don't like to watch things twice. Clueless being the exception.
I knew you were going to say Clueless.
Yeah, well, no shit. Obviously, you know that.
Duh.
It's just, duh. That one that it's like the opposite. Like it's the one movie that I could put on the background. Drag Me to Hell. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to about feel good quarantine movies because
they don't have to be feel good. Like Drag Me to Hell. Just shit that like resonates with you on a level where you can watch it over and over and over and over and over. Like for me, like one of mine is like There Will Be Blood. I can endlessly put that movie on and just fucking like sit and watch it. What was one that I put on the other day that I Ford versus Ferrari. Like I've seen the movie. Yeah, I love the movie. Like it's not in my list. Like it's a great movie.
Yeah.
But I love biopics like that like are based on real life, especially set in the past. That's why I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is not a biopic, but it's set in the it's set in an era that it's set in 1969. So I can endlessly rewatch Once Upon a Time and just like and like refall like and just like every time I watch it I see something new where I'm like, fuck, I can't believe he did that. And like
I mean again, a lot of them I do not watch things twice. I'm like, because there's so many things and now I'm just you're so inundated with all this shit that I haven't watched something like over and over again for a long time. I always default to the shows like The Mentalist, Law and Order SVU, which I thought they'd release, the next episode, but they haven't. So super bummed about that. But I mean, we watched Best in Show the other day with Eugene Levy and.
Was that your first time seeing it, or were you?
It was our first time seeing it. Yeah.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna call you out on rewatching that one, but I guess I can't believe you waited till now. What did you think of it?
It was good. It was really funny. I really liked the LL Bean couple. I think that's what they called them. Yeah. They're my favorite.
Yeah. That movie. Oh man, what is? Oh, by the way, the Kevin Bacon movie you were talking about was called Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
So different. So similar.
Yes. Are you a fan of Christopher Guest's work?
I don't know.
So Christopher Guest is the guy who directed like Best in Show.
Oh, okay.
And they did A Mighty Wind and Waiting for.
I've seen. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah, Waiting for Guffman. Yeah.
Spinal Tap. I loved This Is Spinal Tap. And there's I know that Taika Waititi. Yeah, Taika Waititi. There's a couple of films that he does that have us like a similar vibe to
Yeah,
that.
well,
I mean, obviously, What We Do in the Shadows and
yeah,
stuff. I'm more. I really like his style of film. Christopher Guest. Now that I understand him, I've only seen This is Foul Tap and Best in Show, and they're great. But I feel that now Taika's like the modern day
he is. Yeah,
version of it, where it's a little bit more appealing or digestible to our
totally. Did you
minds.
did you know that Taika is taking on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for Netflix?
No,
Yeah, I think I
no.
from what I understand, he's doing either a 2-part movie or it's a series.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
he's either doing 2 movies or it's a series. I didn't read that much into it. I just saw the headline was like Taika Waititi takes on fucking Charlie and for Netflix.
That is so fucking amazing. There are a couple of things, like I'm happy that you told me this and I knew about it, but like we were talking about a couple weeks ago with the No More Watchmen, and
Yeah.
I learned something the other day about Tim Burton and his Batman. It's my favorite Batman.
Batman or Batman Returns?
Batman Returns.
The second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was supposed to be another one
He
directed by Tim Burton,
yeah, he was supposed to do a third one, yeah.
but it's too scary.
Something
I
like
was crushed.
I know. I know. And it was cuz what it was well, it's always been Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has always had the attachment to DC and whatnot. Yeah, they they squashed his third Batman movie because they just couldn't I don't know, they just like sometimes creative differences happen like that, and Warner Brothers has always had this like weird over controlling fascination with like fucking up their DC properties really bad. And like honestly, it's apparent through the entire run of them making DC films throughout
Yeah.
all and like it's still happening to this day. With the they just can't they like they did like the Christopher Nolan ones are really well done. Um, Batman Begins Batman Begins is a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they really kind of let Chris Nolan because it wasn't like before that the last Batman movie we had was
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
With where it was a fucking joke like with Clooney and the back credit card and Arnold Schwarzenegger like the Joel Schumacher Batman movies are from what I haven't watched them in years. I have them on VHS somewhere. I want to kind of rewatch them on VHS and just see how bad they were.
Yeah.
But they were not good movies. Like they weren't good. So when they kind of gave Chris Nolan the go ahead to make Batman Begins, it was like we hadn't seen Batman in years, so it was kind of like, all right, like they kind of gave him free reign to do whatever he wanted, and he really grounded it in reality, and it's a really well done movie. And then he goes on to make he kind of sparked up that deal like, all right, one for you, one for me, where he did Batman Begins, and then he did fucking did he do it? I don't think he did no, he did The Prestige. Then he did The Dark Knight, then he did Inception, then he did The Dark Knight Rises, then he did Interstellar, you know what I mean? And it just kept kind of going. So Warner Brothers was endlessly happy with him, where they're like, fuck, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So for a lot of years, we had a good kind of Batman series, and then you move into where they're trying to copy what Marvel's doing with the whole extended universe, and people were never happy with Ben Affleck playing Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fucking awesome. I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. He was just in the wrong fucking movie, right? Like he never got his fair shake at actually playing Batman and Bruce Wayne, in my opinion.
Well, that's really tough to say. I mean, I get it. I understand. I
Do you
it's
not
the same
agree?
thing with James Bond.
Wait,
Well, he was a good Batman.
No, how does that? Wait, what do you mean the same thing with James Bond?
Well, I just like don't. I didn't. Not James Bond. Daniel
Daniel Craig as James
Craig
Bond.
as James Bond.
Oh, so you do, so you didn't like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne?
I feel like I shouldn't say it to me. You're looking at me in a way that I feel like I shouldn't.
What are you saying to me right now, Robyn?
I love Michael Keaton. I
Okay,
know he was
that's
too old, and you're right. He was an okay Batman.
no, but I really okay. So recently, I saw a thing that where somebody had made like a fan trailer for Batman Beyond movie,
Yeah.
and they put Michael Keaton in as like old Bruce Wayne. Like, did you ever watch Batman Beyond as
I don't know. I
like
get them all confused.
the cartoon?
Oh, a little bit.
So
Not really.
Bruce
No.
Wayne's like super old in that show, and then he like um he like brings on like a younger guy to be Batman, right? And I think that if they actually like greenlit a Batman Beyond movie and put Michael Keaton in as like old Bruce Wayne and then a young, oh my god, that would be fucking incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. Also, how do you feel about Robert Pattinson putting on the cowl and being in the Batman?
My whole body rejects it.
No. Are you serious?
Listen, I mean,
My
I think he's.
whole body rejects it. I
I
reject
cleanse
you.
it
I
from.
reject you, Twilight Vampire.
Listen, I think he's actually. I think he's gonna rock it. I think he'll be pretty cool because he's kind of
He's
serious. He
he's
has that very like. Yeah, I don't know. It has the scowl down. He can be pretty monotone. He ticks off all the Batman boxes that are required from
right.
you know studios require of their Batman actors. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. He seems okay. I guess we'll see. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it's. I honestly like from the photos that I've seen. The have you seen the new Batmobile?
No.
Oh my god, it's so fucking like, it's so it's like a fucking hot rod. Like it's just like not. It's just a car. Like,
Oh,
isn't that rad?
I mean they're always rad though. They do a great job. I have
It's
no
true.
qualms with the cars. Like they nail the cars every time.
But honestly, like Robert Pattinson, have you seen the movie Good Time?
No.
Okay. Have you watched Uncut Gems?
No.
Those
With
are, yeah, Adam Sandler.
yeah. Yeah.
Watch. So those
Sorry.
movies were made by these. They're called the Safdie brothers,
Okay.
and they are, in my opinion, probably some of the most talented filmmakers that are working today. Like they are fucking. They're oh my. It's hard to even pin down what their style is, or like it's if they can. I'd say anxiety is one of their styles.
Oh, I
Like the
love him already.
oh yeah, like if oh my god, good time is an amazing. It's an incredible movie, and it's that's another one that I can like watch endlessly, even though it's just like the whole movie from start to finish is a god. It's one big long anxiety attack.
Love it.
The whole movie. It's shot from the perspective of like um
Mm.
everything is shot up like really up close. Like they're framing like this much of people's faces for like 90% of the movie. So it's just like it feels like you're basically
Oh,
like kind of like it's so claustrophobic and like fucking oh my god, it's crazy. It's absolutely fucking crazy. So that is your homework to
okay.
watch The Hunt, then watch Good Time, and then watch Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems, I guess, is a movie that they wanted to make for a really long time, and they really wanted Adam Sandler to do it. But when they initially like approached him years ago, he passed on it. And then Robert Pattinson was actually the one that reached out to them to be like, hey, like I would love to work with you guys. And they were like, cool. So they wrote Good Time for him, made it, it blew up. And then Adam Sandler was like, all right, I'll work with you guys. So that's how Uncut Gems came to be.
Cool.
Yeah, even though it was written first.
And that was kind of like their first big kind of blockbuster. I know I heard about it being on like not winning awards, and people were really kind of hung up by the fact that they didn't and felt
Uncut
like they
Gems
deserved
is
it.
definitely like the most talked about. Like I'd say Good Time was like their breakout success,
Right.
and then Uncut Gems is like definitely the one that's kind of put them on the radar in like every regard. And
Cool.
yeah, they definitely got robbed in terms of like any kind of nomination for the Oscars, which is really unfortunate. Like I loved that movie so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Oscars and all those awards, they just kind of feel like a farce anyway.
Yeah, a lot of the time. A
I
lot.
mean, I don't really think that they truly acknowledge the. I don't
No,
know.
no, but I will disagree with you this year because the right movie won. The right movie this year, or like for 2019, won all the awards.
Which.
Parasite.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God. Okay, you add that to the list. You
I
have to
read
watch.
about it. I know. I've read the
Holy
whole thing. You know what I do, and then that.
fuck.
Uh, I know I
Parasite
shouldn't have
is
done it. So
so
like,
fucking good.
it looks really good.
Did
It
you
looks
wait?
really
You
good.
read about the movie?
I always do that. I mean, I shouldn't do that, but
So you
for everything,
spoiled the whole movie for yourself.
yeah.
Ah,
Doesn't mean I
Robyn.
won't watch it. I won't. It doesn't mean I won't watch it.
Good, because it's like that. That I think Parasite and Uncut Gems were like my two favorite movies from last year.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I did watch 1917.
I liked it.
Krista and I watched it last week, I think, and I absolutely like Roger Deakins absolutely deserved to win for cinematography.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. And how I thought the Oscars was going to play out was I thought that I thought fuck, how did I think it was going to go? I thought Sam Mendes was going to win Best Director, but Parasite would win Best Picture. Sam Mendes directed 19. Well, either way, I had one and the other in like the Best Director and Best Picture category.
Yeah.
And 1917 didn't win any of them. Which, except they won for cinematography, which they absolutely fucking deserved.
For
But
sure.
after seeing it, I was like, okay, I get it. Like, yes, Sam Mendes directed the fuck out of that movie, and yes, it's really well written. It's so well done. It's a beautiful story. But, you know, Parasite definitely deserved to kind of take the cake.
I'm pumped. You know, there's one on Amazon Prime, and I shouldn't say similar because there's a okay. It's called The Handmaiden. It is I believe it's a Korean Japanese film.
Okay.
Super fucked. Love it. Oh yeah, South Korean erotic psychological thriller is what they call it.
From
Um,
2016. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah. But same kind of crazy ilk. It's the same director who did Lady Vengeance and Old Boy.
Oh, I love Old Boy.
Yeah.
Chan Wook Park. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that was my subtitle one. I always feel, I mean, listen, I know this is so awful, but like there are so many incredible films that require subtitles, and I have to be in the right mood and headset and head frame to read subtitles.
No, and that's fair. I totally get that, and at least you make the effort to watch subtitled films because there's a lot of people that don't, and that was one of the things that Pong Chun-ha, the guy who directed Parasite, in the I think it was his Golden Globe speech, he said if you overcome the hurdle of like the 1-inch subtitles at the bottom of the screen, you'll open yourself up to like a world of wonderful films and like more films in that regard.
Oh yeah, there's a couple really, and I need to extend you the names, and there's a couple really hilarious like Spanish film that are my favorite genre is comedy horror because I just think it's like the perfect intersection of all of my favorite things as long as it's done right and not like what were those scary movies like the ones called scary movies like hate it. But there's a couple good ones I need to send you. But that's exactly it. It is that hurdle, and I think I'd rather read it and still have the original language, like you're still hearing that, so you kind
Yeah.
of get their cadence and their deliveries like
Well, it's a lot more
right
natural
on.
that way.
Totally, and I think that I have to commend Netflix because they've done a phenomenal job at dubbing or dubbing
Dubbing is when they're
over
replacing.
dubbing, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
at dubbing, providing like international films or series, and then dubbing over with English translations. But I really love when they do it sometimes because they'll have the accent of like they'll choose actors. Oh,
Right.
there's a cop. Oh my gosh, there's a cop coming to my house. Um,
There's a cop coming to your
there
house?
is legitimately a cop coming to my house.
Oh.
Uh, all right. With that, I gotta let you go. I'm
Okay.
super sorry.
Okay. Please let me know how this goes. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
No, all good. Thanks for doing this.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. I don't know what happened. All right, I guess we'll call it there for today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This will be up on iTunes later today. So if you missed some of the episode or whatever, please definitely go subscribe to the Blue Room podcast on iTunes. But thanks for watching. Take care.